Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for coming to the Hatchet panel. Of course, we got Kane Hodder, Danielle Harris, and R.A. Mahalo.
Mahalaha.
That's Mr. Mahalaha, sir.
Sir.
Anyone interested in what RA stands for?
Yes. Sure.
Reach around.
No.
Alrighty, so I wanted to start off with
No, not really.
Hatchet 2 was released in theaters and it was pulled pretty quickly. The MPAA said they had nothing to do with it, but what do you guys think of unrated horror films kind of getting put out there and ripped out of theaters? Do you think unrated horror should be allowed in theaters?
Well, of course it should. I mean, it should be the choice of the viewer. If they don't want to see it, they don't go. But I can't stand any group that dictates what other people should be able to do. I've always had a hard time with that kind of stuff. I don't think we need the mic, right? Or I don't, anyway. And it just bothers me that anyone assumes to make decisions for the general public.
Right.
It's always gone against my basic feelings. So.
Right, and I mean, you guys have been involved in horror films seemingly for a very long time, and is there anything about Hatchet 2 that's more, I don't know, obscene as the moral majority would see than Halloween or Leatherface or Jason?
It's less.
Yeah, it's actually less. I would agree because, you know, Adam Green always compares it to like, was it Hostel or something which I don't have a problem with either, but he says, you know, right, we can't show some of the people didn't want to see some of the stuff in Hatchet 2, but then they chop a guy's dick off and feed it to a dog or whatever it is in Hostel, which I don't care either, but, you know, that seems a little more intense than what we had in Hatchet 2.
Yeah,
So it seems that the independent films, they come down harder on, in my opinion, than the big studio films. They bow down to them a little bit from the pressure, but.
Well, it's because they get more money
Yeah.
from the studio films.
So the cast, I mean, the three of you and Tony Todd and Tom Holland, what was it like working really with a horror all-star cast?
Pains in my asses. All these big broods I have to deal with. No, I can school them all those. They're all scared of me. You gotta be scared, be afraid of the little one.
That's right, that's always the case.
I got better aim height-wise if they're nuts.
You're just out and out tough, man. Danielle cut her hand.
Oh, shit.
And
I always get hurt doing the stupidest shit, though.
yeah, but here's the deal, though. I mean,
About
she cut her hand, and you know, most actresses would throw a fit. They'd run to their trailer and call their agent and cry. And Danielle said, "Put a Band-Aid on it. Let's keep
I'm
filming."
bleeding. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
I did it worse.
Enjoy it.
I did it worse. I hurt myself worse in Hatchet 3.
Yeah. We can't talk about the scene specifically, but she
Hurt
hurt
myself
her
bad twice.
ribs. Is that the one you mean?
The bruises and then my face when a sound went off too close to my head and I kind of freaked out and ended up like doing something stupid and smashing my eye, cut my eye wide open and blood everywhere. And they couldn't tell because I have covered in his fucking blood anyway. So they can't tell if it's real or if it's fake. It was real. Yeah, I did that. That was awesome.
But then the ribs
Bruises,
do,
oh my
right?
God. Oh yeah.
Did you think you almost broke them or something?
I did, yeah. That was just awful. Hurt myself way worse. But yeah, in our movie, I was cocking the gun. All day long, I had no problems. And I did it again, and I just caught my skin right in the thing and just ripped it open. It was awesome.
She kept going.
So that brings me to another question. What drew you all to the horror genre instead of romantic comedies where no one seems to get hurt?
But everybody's an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, that's true. From my experience, 36 years in this business, the nicest actors and the most approachable people are the ones that play the most insidious characters. The assholes are the comedians. The ones you want to like, behind the scenes, they're the pricks. So, I never like to mention names Chevy Chase because I think it's rude. It's not right to just say stuff like that.
We all probably could agree. We all keep working together though, so it's a very small community, so you kind of have to.
I don't, personally, I didn't, go into horror purposely. I just kind of got lucky. I was a working stunt person. That's all I wanted to do. Did the movie Prison, which just came out on Blu-ray finally. And based on playing the character in that movie, John Buechler decided he wanted me to play Jason in Part 7. So I never anticipated, I always loved horror, but never thought I'd really be involved in it. I just wanted to be a stuntman, so.
I think we get cast not knowing what we're signing up for really, and then you guys choose to keep us in it,
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
I was a lifelong horror fan, but I did not specifically set out to be a horror movie character. I mean, I hoped it would happen, and I wanted it to happen, and it was very gratifying that my first big role was in a horror movie. But I mean, you can't. Look, you may think you're the cat's ass, and you go out to Hollywood, and they'll hand they'll hand your ass to you in a bag. You may think you're fit for playing lawyers and stuff, and they will. The casting people will tell you who you're going to be in a sense.
And it's interesting, R.A. told me a story last night when we were eating dinner that I didn't really know, that he was almost selected to play Jason in Part 6.
This is true.
And, if he had done it, who knows what would have happened. Maybe he would have stayed playing the character. You never know.
I wouldn't have been smart enough to. I wouldn't have been smart enough to get locked into another sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have done it once and go, oh, I hope they call me.
Right. Well, something I haven't talked about much is after I did Part 7, I loved playing the character, and I hoped they asked me to do it in Part 8. And then I found out that they were doing Part 8. I was waiting for the call. It was, of course, different director, same producer, but I thought they might call. They didn't. I didn't hear anything, and then I heard through the grapevine that they were talking to some guy in Canada about possibly playing the role, and because they were going to shoot it in Vancouver. And so I called Barbara Sachs at Paramount and said, hey, I'd love to play the role again. And she was like, literally said, really? You would? Well, wait a minute, let me talk to them then. They hadn't even considered it. If I hadn't made that call, I may not have played the part a second time, because I guess they assumed that I wouldn't want to. And they had a guy who turned out to play the role later anyway, but they had him, talking to him about doing it, and he was local, and it was much cheaper, and you know how that goes. They wouldn't have to pay, per diem and housing and airfare for the guy, so, but once they found out I really wanted to do it, then I was back in the running, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lesson to any
I know.
aspiring actors out there.
Don't assume, like he's saying, don't assume you're the shit and think, oh, wow, I did that and everybody loved it, they're going to ask me back. You can't always assume that. And you can't always do what I did either. You can't call and say, hey, I want to play a part.
But that's proactive and smart.
Yeah. Worked out in that case, so.
Are there any movies you've regretted playing? Any horror movies you've regretted playing in?
Some are better than others, but the ones I think are shit, you guys love, so. You never know.
That's true.
Some
But
of
sometimes
the,
the real crappy ones are just like really fun to laugh at and everything
Yeah.
too as well. So it's kind of like entertainment wise.
I've never really had anyone come up and say like, oh, that, Halloween, it was like, like we're like, oh, that movie fucking sucks. But you guys go see it over and over again, so to tell me that it sucks, which is fine with me. But there's maybe experiences that on set that you wish you wouldn't have to go through again. Or the experience is great on set and the movie comes out shitty, or you never know. It's just kind of luck of the job. But I don't think that, not in our case.
Yeah, I don't think I regret anything. It's ultimately up to you. When you read the script and they present you a character and you either say, yeah, I'd like to try and work this out, or no. So if you say yes and then you regret it, then you fucked up. You can't blame anybody else, in my opinion. You made the decision, ultimately.
Yeah.
So, there was something about the character that you liked, so hopefully you don't regret it. I don't think I do. There's, like Danielle said, there's a few that I wish had come out better, but, I didn't mind my character or whatever.
So, Ari, you heard this story from Kane on, from going to playing the iconic Leatherface to being a victim, how does that translate? Did you just want to kick his ass?
Well, of course I wanted to kick his ass, but here's the deal.
Everybody does.
Well, here's the deal. Going into the movie Hatchet 2, my character's name was Trent, and the movie was not called Trent 2. It was called Hatchet 2. So I kind of had a feeling I might not make it to the end. And it took me. I had to sit down and search my soul for several days to know that I'd have to be beaten up on camera by Kane.
So I have killed Leatherface as Victor. I killed Freddy as Victor in the first one. There's a Jason in part 3. Derek Mears is in the movie, and I can't really say what the outcome is, but probably not favorable for him. I'm sure you can imagine that. But
They've killed Candyman.
and Candyman, right?
So is this the first time you guys worked together?
Oh no.
No. We did. I was the stunt coordinator on R.A.'s Leatherface movie.
Starting in it came out in 1990. We started in 89.
89.
And we've done how many? Like 4 or 5 at least.
So we did. What was that?
Pumpkinhead 2.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead 2, and Hatchet 2, of course. Something else too.
Something. The one in the prison.
Yeah, Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels.
It was about there were. Just let me ask you something. There's a movie called Fallen Angels. We shot at Mansfield Prison in Ohio, and it's kind of. I mean, it has something to do with the 7 deadly sins. So you played one of the 7 deadly sins.
That is correct. Didn't you?
You know, the version of it, and it was anger, right?
That is correct.
And I just played a kind of a different character, but and our buddy Rick McCollum, who we did the Ghost Adventures episode with, and who
Yeah.
he plays John in Hatchet 2, Silent Guy.
Silent John.
Yeah. And he also is the only other person to wear the adult Victor Crowley makeup. When I was Mr. Crowley in the flashbacks, when Victor was still an adult, it was Rick in the makeup. When Victor is a child, it's Adam Green's wife in the makeup. Just a little trivia in case you didn't know. But
Danielle, as an actress, what challenges did you have making the role of Mary Beth your own since you took over the role first?
I think I had it pretty easy. I think she would have had a harder time taking over from me. You know, people will automatically were like, oh, yay, you know, it's good. So I kind of get a nice get out of jail free card from the fans, I think, with whatever I do.
Right.
Thank God. Even when I know that I'm shitty in a movie, you guys still like it, so I'm okay. You know, it was just, it was hard because not about taking over from her, but about just having to start a movie already at 100%.
Right.
You know, never had to do that before. You get a chance to build up to that intensity, but I had to start there and stay there and figure out ways around it.
right, you understand what she's saying. At the end of the movie,
Yeah.
Mary
Yeah.
Beth is crazed,
Crazy.
enraged, and since the second one starts at that point, that is
It's
tough.
like, hi, I'm gonna start here and then have to go to 150. And
And-
then Hatchet 3 is the same thing, like how do you then shift from where you, and I'm very different in Hatchet 3 than I was in 2. I mean, from 1 to 2 to 3, Mary Beth has gone through some serious emotional shit. So, you know, I go back in to find my brother and my father and ready to face him if I have to. And then in the third, I have nothing to lose anymore because everything's already gone.
Right.
So there's a different kind of intensity that comes with that as well. So she makes that transition.
And it was my understanding that you were the first choice for Mary Beth in the first movie anyway.
No, I don't know. I think Adam lied. I auditioned for it. You know, I went in and auditioned and he didn't tell me anything about it. I guess he always was like, you know, Adam's a fanboy, so was excited that I was in there, but never let me know that. And I remember the audition perfectly because I was pissed because there was a big glass wall. I don't know if you ever went into that room, but there's a big glass wall behind and all the actors were waiting to read it. You could see and hear kind of everything that was going on in the room, which is always the worst. You don't want to, and you're screaming you know, you don't want to hear, it's like hearing someone have sex, like, you don't want to hear it. You're kind of interested, and you kind of want to hear and watch, but you really don't want to hear and watch, so, because you're up next, you know what I mean? If they're really good, then you kind of have to match that, so. But I guess that in the first Hatchet, they had already started casting a bunch of other genre actors, and it just would be like, you know, too much.
That's the understanding I got, that since I was doing it, Robert Englund was in it, even Josh Leonard from Blair Witch was in it, Tony Todd. There was a little hesitation, wow, we don't want to make it so ridiculous, and, you know, so maybe cast an unknown for Mary Beth, but, you know.
I mean, if I was directing, I'd have been like, oh wow, this is all coming together. I'm pulling from all the franchises. Like, this is really cool. Fucking Rob Zombie did it over and over and over again and seemed to have success doing it. So that's what I do when I make movies. I want to pull a little bit from everyone's.
Do you guys know about her movie she directed?
We can't wait to see it. We want to see it.
It's called Among Friends.
Kane's in it.
I'm in it.
All right,
but
saw it.
just a
I
little
saw
bit.
it.
When is that coming out?
Summertime.
It's actually very good.
It's
It really
fun.
is. I saw it and was pleasantly surprised.
Thank you. It's hard. I shot it in 10 days, so.
What genre is it?
It's horror.
Is it? That's
It
awesome.
is. It's fun though. I mean, I make fun of, you know, I have all the things that I like
Mhm.
about it, and I make fun of all the things that I don't like about horror movies, and I still keep it pretty real and fun. And it's just, I don't know, these movies are taken, so what I love about the Hatchet series is that Adam has fun making them, so I felt like I was missing out on a lot of the movies that I was watching in the theater as a fan, and a lot of the movies that I was doing as an actor in the genre, so I wanted to kind of bring that back a little bit, so keep it real, and you guys enjoy it, but keep it simple. You know, I don't know how to do CGI and all that stuff, so I like to keep it very basic, which is what Adam does too, really practical. So it's fun. Kane plays this very, I let him just improvise, because, you know, he doesn't get a chance to really show what he can do in movies most of the time. I mean, we know one side of him, but I know the dirty side of Kane that you guys are all seeing up here, as you call it, the jag-off, you know, Pittsburgh language I'm learning. But he's got a funny, dirty sense of humor, and so I wanted him to bring that to the table and not really push him in one direction, so he plays this filthy, dirty limo driver that I just love, right? Just a perv.
I think it's the only
funny.
comical
Oh, yeah.
part of the movie,
It
really.
is.
I'm the comic
he's
relief
the comic
in a horror movie
relief.
once. I don't do anything violent,
Right.
and the person that does do violent things, I think, is quite good.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
And it's funny to be the other side of the coin, doing the funny stuff, and
It's
you even
nice.
get to see me dance.
I got him to dance. And when I showed him the movie, he was like, I didn't really dance like that. I was like, I have it on
How did you Photoshop that into me dancing like a moron?
Dude, it's all you. But that's what's fun about, you know, doing these movies is you make friends. And you get to call in your friends to do stupid shit. And we also have a ghost hunting group too, so they've called me in to do some pretty fun things as well. We all call on each other to do that
Yeah.
stuff.
Hollywood ghost hunters. Mostly everyone in the group has something to do with horror films. And we thought it was an interesting group to go ghost hunting, people that are used to trying to scare other people, trying to get scared themselves. And so we've been all over the country to various places, different combinations of the group, but all over.
But we haven't been scared.
Oh, I've been scared.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
She had some good stuff at Linda Vista.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. So, but you did not run.
No, I couldn't get out the door. You guys were blocking.
Well, that's because our catchphrase is, you run, you're done.
I stayed, not willingly.
So, Ian, as Jason, you had a lot of input in the kills and obviously stunt coordination. Do you have that same input for Victor?
Yeah, I always am the stunt coordinator on the Hatchet movies too, so since I'm involved in most of the action in some way or another, it's nice to be able to have my input as to what we do. And Hatchet 3, the stunt action is way over the top, way more than we ever did before. So we used a lot of local New Orleans stunt guys that I knew from LA that have moved to New Orleans because there's so much work down there. And they play police officers, and there's much more killing in Hatchet
So
3
you
than
guys
ever
did
before.
your own stunts in Hatchet 2? That's the fight scene between you guys?
Yes, he
Yes,
did.
That was he and I. Yeah. and I-
R.A.'s very
Shit
good
out
with
of each
physical
other.
stuff, so it was a pleasure to do the fight. I don't know what I did, but tore my bicep or something.
But yeah, he did, I'm telling you, you did.
Okay.
He tore.
I don't even know how I did it. During our fight where I killed his character, I tore my bicep somehow, and within a week, I have a picture on my computer, and I don't bruise easily for some reason. I had a bruise from the edge of this scar from my burns all the way to my wrist. My entire forearm was like black, and it was really weird looking. And that happened at the beginning of the fight, which took how many
All day,
hours to
all
shoot?
day long. But there's two tough son of a bitches right there, both of them. Because a bicep tear is very painful, and he kept working all day and did the fight.
What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna let somebody else put the makeup on.
Suit up, Rick.
Well, it's fan-wise, it really, when you find out that, actors, actresses who do their own stunts, it really makes us appreciate it a lot more that you guys are like, not like, oh, we're just gonna have somebody else do the fight scenes or whatever scenes. As fans, we definitely appreciate it. I can speak for ourselves, where everybody's like, that's awesome that you guys put your heart and soul into these movies.
I
I
think,
think when I got on set for Hatchet 3, the first conversation Kane and I had in the bar at the hotel, literally within the first hour I was there, was me telling him what I wanted to do in the movie, because I knew they weren't going to let me do a lot of the stuff. And I was like, listen, I'm cool with this, I'm cool with this, I'm cool with this. Let me try this stuff. Like, I know I trust enough to know, like, I won't really do it if, God forbid, something could really happen and hurt me, but I'd like to at least try, and then
Yeah, and
see.
and a lot of times as a stunt coordinator, you have to use a stunt double for an actor, not because they're not capable of doing it, but if something goes wrong in that particular case and the actor is injured, then the whole movie could be shut down. So it's sometimes more, a decision of what's the best way to go. The actor could probably do it, but if they get hurt, we're all out of work. So maybe you don't do necessarily that one, even though they're capable of
And
it.
I've been on a lot of movies, unfortunately, where two things actually I've figured out over the years. As a woman, you always have your sex scene up first scene first of the shoot. So they can basically replace you if you say no. So it's not like you're going to shoot the whole movie and then it comes time for the good stuff. And if you say I'm not comfortable, then they're screwed. So they put you up. I was like, wow, they always throw me into this first up, like how uncomfortable. And they're like, oh, we want to get it out of the way. Producers want to protect their ass.
That's
They don't
interesting.
want
I
to do
never
all
even
this.
realized that.
Because if you say like, yeah, I'm cool with it, and then you get there and you're like, I'm not cool with it, which I've actually seen women do, they'll just get you out and bring somebody else in. So they put that sex scene up first. And then a lot of the times they'll do your dangerous stunt stuff. If you only have one big thing, they do it on the last day of shooting. So they get everything they need in the can, and then God forbid you get hurt,
Right.
they already have what they need. So.
And another interesting from Hatchet 2, there was a character that is crawling away from me after I decapitated her fornicating boyfriend. And she crawls away, and I take the hatchet and go to a very unpleasant place on her. Originally, that was a different actress. We're sitting at Ariscope
Yeah, table
at the
read.
read-through,
Yeah.
and we're reading through the script.
Yeah.
And I'm watching her, and she's not looking real happy.
Right.
She ended up turning it down after.
After she got it and should have known she had to take her top off.
Yeah. So,
and she was friends with Adam.
Yeah, she was friends.
right. No, we're not going to say the name, but.
Yeah.
So, we gotta wrap this up here, I know you guys gotta get back. Any info on when Hatchet 3's coming out? I know you guys can't talk.
Summer.
Summer?
I heard May, and then I guess Kane recently said June.
Is it DVD, is it going to movies or straight to DVD? Do you guys know yet?
I hear both. I've heard that it'll be limited theatrical. They're not sure if it'll be like
That's what
last
I've
year, New
heard.
York, LA, or just LA for a longer period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think video on demand and DVD seemed.
Okay.
I think, yeah, the last I've heard was a limited theatrical, maybe just New York and LA, which isn't ideal, but, at least some people will see it in the theaters.
Well, thank you guys very much for taking time out and speaking with us, and thanks for coming to Horror Realm.
All right,
Yeah, thanks
thank
for
you for
having
coming in,
us.
guys.